Today we are talking Ben Holladay Soft Red Wheat Bottle and Bond. Is this going to be a bourbon that you need to be seeking out? Let's talk about that today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. Let's do this. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. So like I had mentioned, we are talking Ben Holladay Soft Red Wheat Bottled and Bond. Is this a bourbon that you need to be seeking out? This is coming from a brand that has really started to gain some pretty heavy traction. Wanted to sit down with this whiskey in particular and just kind of see exactly what it had to offer. And is this going to be something that I think a lot of people really need to kind of get on board with? So let's talk a little bit about what the Ben Holladay Soft Red Wheat Bottled and Bond has to offer. So this is coming in at 100 proof, has a mash bill of 73% corn, 15% wheat, 12% malted barley. It is age stated as 6 years old, and the MSRP is coming in at right around $60. So wanted to dive into this, excited. It's a brand that for me, I've really started to appreciate knowing exactly what it is that they are doing. A couple things that I really appreciate that they do before we kind of dive into this is they give you on the side of the bottle here not only a distilled, which is distilled in spring of 2017, gives you the Rick House, which is C, and the bottled on date or bottled in date of May of 2023. So it gives you everything that you need to know in terms of how they came up with the age statement. The most important part for me on this is their transparency with where the barrels are coming from within a particular rick house. So this one being Rick House C, they are giving you percentages of each floor that they are using within this blend. They have 7 floors within each rick. So exactly what this is made up in terms of the barrels used is going to be this. From floor number 1, 5% of the barrels, floor number 2, 5% of those barrels, floor number 3, 14% of those barrels, floor number 4, 57% of those barrels, floor 5, 16% of those barrels, floor 6, 3% of those barrels, and from floor number 7, 0%. So it gives you all of the percentages of barrels from those particular floors that help create this spring of 2017 bottling of their soft red wheat. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the review, and we'll give you some nosing notes right now. So immediately there's this beautiful stone fruit note. Some really nice also kind of cherry or cherry pastry notes. There's a real nice softness, like an elegance to this bourbon. Really nice kind of honey notes. Light toffee, maybe a little bit of brown sugar. Maybe even a little bit of a slight confectionery kind of note. Nice graham cracker actually coming out in this. And I'll say this also, there's a little bit of an earthiness to it, which is giving me a feeling of what you get from a slightly older whiskey. Maybe there's a little bit more of that oak that's kind of coming out, but it's starting to feel or smell a little bit richer, feels and smells a little bit older. Even a little bit of butterscotch right there at the end. All right, more importantly, let's see how this one's going to taste. Cheers, guys. Before we do that, we got to pay some bills around here. Let's hear a word from today's sponsor. So let's face it, as we get older and after a night of drinks, you just don't bounce back the way you used to. Now I have to make the decision, do I want to have a great night or do I want to feel good the next morning? That's until I found ZBiotics. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. So how does ZBiotics work? When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your next rough day. ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut, where you need it most. Just remember to drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, get a good night's sleep to feel your best the following day. So how simple is this to use? So I like to use ZBiotics prior to doing single barrel picks. Knowing that I'm going to be tasting through several barrels of whiskey, this assures me that I'm going to feel good and be productive the following day. Go to zbiotics.com/MyBourbonJourney or scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use my code MYBOURBONJOURNEY at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code so you can stay prepared no matter the time or the occasion. ZBiotics is back with a 100% money back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/MyBourbonJourney and use code MyBourbonJourney to save 15% off your order at checkout.
Now with the holiday season upon us, give your family and friends the gift of a better tomorrow with ZBiotics.
Thank you, ZBiotics, for sponsoring today's video. All right, so on the palate, like immediately, there's this soft, creamy texture. You can't get beyond that like right away. That mouthfeel that it has, again, soft, creamy, velvety, just a beautiful texture so far on the palate. For a wheated bourbon, there's actually right out of the gate a really nice spice factor to it. Really kind of hits quickly after you kind of get past that creamy, velvety texture. You pick up a lot of that kind of nice spice that it has to offer, more of like probably a baking spice. Again, even some cherry or a cherry pastry. So far, the nose and the palate seem to be matching like identically. There's a really nice transition of both, which oftentimes is great, especially in a bourbon that is 100 proof. You want there to be some of those similarities, and so far I'm getting a lot of that like right away. Yeah, again, there's this beautiful, beautiful like oak, not heavy, not overly drying, not a major or heavy like oak profile, but there's something there that's enough that's giving you a little bit of that oak. Maybe a touch of dryness that's there kind of like on the end, but nothing that's going to be overwhelming or drying out your palate at all. Again, more of that kind of toffee, brown sugar, maybe even a little bit of a honey or like a charred kind of honey or a honey that was hit with a little bit of flame. There's something where, again, I think more of the oak is starting to kind of come out again, but with a lot of those underlying kind of sweet characteristics to this bourbon. Again, a little bit of that kind of graham cracker effect. This really feels for me that it's probably one of the more consistent nose to palate bourbons that I've had in some time. It really resonates from both the nose to the palate, that a lot of those same kind of flavor profiles are there. And again, I think when you're looking for a bourbon that has some nice overall consistency, this is exactly what it should be like, where you don't have something that are complete opposite ends of the spectrum. You've got something that's more uniformed. It makes it much more approachable for, not only sipping, but maybe even for cocktails, should you choose to do that. But absolutely fantastic so far. I will say this, there is, again, as the finish begins to develop, a slight amount of dryness, but again, nothing that you're going to probably overly focus on, and maybe that dryness that's there is coming a little bit more from the oak. So there's maybe a little bit more of an oak presence, but it's really allowing for this bourbon to feel and taste a little bit older than it's drinking. And that's something that, again, at 100 proof is really nice because you're just getting this full flavored whiskey at a very approachable proof. In addition to the oak, some of those cherry or stone fruits, honey, like a charred honey note, again, nice spice. There's also this nice little hint of butterscotch or a Werther's candy. It's making it kind of viscous, creamy. There's still a nice texture all the way through this. So I think overall, it is a fantastic bourbon, and I'm excited for not only the brand, but to see where it is that they're going. I know they are slowly or now starting to introduce, some single barrel picks, but also their both rye and wheated based rickhouse proof version. So we're going to start to get these and these mash bills at basically their barrel proof. So it's going to be interesting to see where this is and then be able to taste essentially the ramped up version of what it is we're talking about today. So with that being said, I would say seek this out. If you're able to find these bourbons or this particular bourbon, give it a try. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear whether or not you've already tried it. And again, where it kind of falls on your kind of bourbon spectrum. But I think this is worth that $60 price point. Again, love the brand, love their transparency, love how it kind of indicates everything as to where the barrels are coming from that are working into this blend, the distilled season, when it's bottled, all of that. Love everything about what it is they're indicating on the bottle. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel and become part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, make sure you check out the Patreon link in the description below. A lot of other great things down there for you as well. Thank you guys. Remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Make sure you find something from Ben Holladay Distillery out of Weston, Missouri. Cheers.